The two most annoying things you got to hear from social media, the news or whatever, that just annoying and you just wish it would just go away is number one, we have a president that's trying to be a dictator. It was pretty obvious from 2016 is all he was trying to do and a whole bunch of golfing. Yeah, I predicted all that about the golfing, the protesting, the trying to be a dictator. Just people putting on masks to arrest people and pull them in the car. That happened last time he was president, and my understanding is supposed to be worse. But so I predicted all this. I predicted price going up. I said all this in my video. But the next thing is what we're hearing about the movie industry. And I decided I'm going to title this Jeremy James, the reason why the movie industry is dying. Because really, it's people like Jeremy. I believe it's social media. I was saying it for years. Like me, I was always saying that I don't think it should be social media that, decides who goes to the theater, because what I see through social media as in YouTube, it's just a bunch of single guys talking about movies, and they're the kind of, they look the way and act the way of, if you saw them in high school, you would know never to take advice from this person. This is clearly a loser route. And, but the biggest thing is I am like just bubbles my mind what's been happening after the Raid 2 came out. I think 2014 is when movies started dying. Is watching, the movies that are making $1 billion. It's like, who's going to see these movies? Because I don't know anyone that likes these movies or talk about these movies. Jurassic World 2, Jurassic World 1, 3, Godzilla this, Godzilla versus King Kong, and they are expected to make a bunch of money the same way this movie called Chucky's at Fridays, I don't know what it's called, or, Fridays, whatever, made $70 million on the first week. And, and you have Minecraft, because it's a famous game for kids, making so much money, throwing popcorns around. It's just like, movies turn for idiots. Where the other people, they feel like, why am I even going to theaters anymore? Why? That's why I said Star Wars is kind of like you say, one thing I'll say is like a one-race movie. I only seen people hanging around one color that have no friends with color got into those movies, and now they're upset because they're putting more color in these things. And I said, you put more color in these movies, they won't be praising them. And like I said, the Star Wars The Force Awakens, was a very good trailer. I was even pumped, even though I didn't give a shit about Star Wars. I'm gonna get into a point with that with Star Wars in a second to go with this. And, but by sitting in the movie, you saw a whole bunch of people on their phones, scratching their heads, and it's kind of like Blast going to support Wakanda Forever because the guy died. They never sit through a Disney Marvel movie. They sit there like, why is there a person flying around in some Iron Man suit? It's just like, what is this crap? And then that makes you think, oh, okay, I'm done with theaters. And that's what's going on. But one of the things I'm trying to get into is part of it's like, there's good movies that didn't do well in theaters. And people praise, like, so yeah, I'm glad it fell. The film, Mr. Walk, whatever the hell they were saying at the time. Terminator Dark Fate's good. X-Men Dark Phoenix was good. I know people talk about them, enjoy them, besides social media. And I can't remember what else. I did like Monster Hunter. I'm trying to think of what else didn't do well in theaters. And and it was supposed to be hated or something. But I'm trying to get to the point is, but while you're busy hating that, you have, I think I kind of like jumped the gun a little bit. You have movies like Minecraft, Barbie making $1 billion. And I'm like, that's not the point I'm trying to get into. I'm just like, good movies, but shitty movies like Fridays or something, whatever, something at Fridays, I don't know, Freddy's at Fridays, making $70 million on the first week. Your whole concentration is on a kid movie. And you're rushing to see like the biggest pile of shits ever. But I'm trying to get into this other thing I want to get into. So I'm kind of messing up a little bit, So this is the part I was trying to move into Star Wars. Like I was supposed to get straight to Star Wars before this. I do wonder if it's people's bias that makes them like a movie. And then as I was get past this, then I was supposed to get into like Terminator Dark Fate and blah blah. And but I already did it, so I messed up. Is like Jeremy, how he was attacking what was it called, that the Ikalai, whatever it's called for Star Wars, that TV show. It was going pretty good until after the baddest lightsaber fight I've ever seen in my life. And I was confused because Jeremy and other people were doing this where they're acting like that was an awful lightsaber fight when heads are being chopped off, stabbed several times with a lightsaber. And I'm like, this is the shit I've been waiting for forever. Screw the Dark Mode fight, whatever his name is with a red face. Screw that fight. This is the fight of all the lightsaber fights. Like, nah, it's too dark, man. Man, Finn is the woke. I don't know what the hell they're saying, but they're like, oh, it's boring, messy. I'm like, are you high? I've never seen a better lightsaber fight in my life. You know, but the thing is, and it's like, so they're, I don't know, it's like, how is it that people's, I'm guessing, my understanding is they can be so lost in this whole hate thing, they can really make themselves hate things that are actually good, but rush to see the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And the smart people who, see when they look up, hey, what's in theaters? Disney, Marvel, another CGI movie, and just like, hey, I'm done with theaters. And, but it is a tad confusing, but all I know is the outcome is these movies are making $1 billion and making $70 or $100 million or $200 million in the first week. Are you kidding me? Compared to the movies that you were wanting to fail? It's like, get the F out of here. That's why you live with your parents and stuff. That's why your life isn't together. And you want to you want that to happen. I said majority of these people who do these hate videos, I don't watch them, but I know they don't, they have no girl. They don't go to theaters. They sit at home all day, watch Fox News about hating shit. But that's what it's just like, it's hard to take movies serious, or I don't know. It's just, I can kind of understand why, people are less showing up because the studios was listening to social media. And the point I was trying to say is to make movies do well, you have to get rid of social media because somehow people are becoming dumber and they rush into certain movies that because they're praised on social media. And then they probably only listen to social media and they go to only those that were praised and they keep getting let down. Like I said, Warfare, that movie was shit. Sinners wasn't good. No one likes that movie. And there's so many other movies that, I have a nephew who gets in social media. He sent me something. He says, hey, call this number. You got to call me at this number. I called it. And and it turns out it was Nicolas Cage because it was like trying to promote the movie Long Legs. And he kept thinking how this movie's going to be good. And I said, dude, this trailer looks like shit. And he agreed, after I won the bet because he paid my way. Yes, it was shit. But the thing is, how did you get hyped up for this shit when it was clearly looking like shit from the trailer? But I kept getting these comments under that reviews as, man, but they had good advertisement. I never heard anyone talk about this movie, not even through social media. So it had to be some Twitter crap. But that's what it is. I think people are like, man, what they say social media? Oh, they're saying this movie's good. Let me go check it out, and then get bummed out again. But at the same time, the biggest confusing thing is, and Beyond the Trailer said it, she said this thing in her last, she does her Sunday, how much money a movie made. And she talks about Deadpool 3. And he says, you guys hate Deadpool 3 now. I believe that's possible. I said that movie sucked. But, it's just weird, what she said. It's just like, it kind of, goes to my point is, after these movies leave theaters, no one talks about these movies anymore. They'll talk about it only on social media when they do their best movies of the year at the end of the year. But then it dies. Then you never hear about it again. But it's, but what she also said is, y'all, I hate Deadpool 3 now. But think about it. How did it make $1 billion? That is the only confusing part. Who is seeing these movies? It's like some Twilight Zone crap because it's like, who is watching? I do understand it's cross seas. I do understand that. that gives that real money. I learned that like last year when or something because I never really paid attention to it. But I'm like the biggest question of all this anger and hate about certain movies, and then you see the dumbest shit ever make like $200 million on the first week. I gave Minecraft about less than 5 minutes. Honestly, I really did. I couldn't do it. I maybe hit Netflix. I'll try again, but I just couldn't give it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But and one thing is I will say is I think a movie that I'm just gonna say this because I just want to say like what I think is kind of this will go against social media. Well, I'll say I understand that Sinners was praised, but a movie that I thought was a good family movie and people agree, and it did very bad this year is I would say is Until Dawn. I said if you're adult past your 20s, you think it's okay, but if you're younger than 10, you're gonna love this movie, and that's what I've been hearing. But and that should have still made more money. And the fact that kids, I understand rated R, I do get that, but like I said, I was raised to watch rated R movies. I do notice several parents don't let their kids watch rated R. My kids can't watch movies with nudity, so when I get some, I usually give people comments says, "Is there any nudity in this movie?" And I'm waiting for them to get back to me because I try to find out. Sometimes they don't even put that on there in the trailer says if there's nudity or not. Because Sinners, I had a hard time finding out. I had to keep asking small YouTube movie reviewers so they will reply to me. But the thing is the crap that's making money. It's so forgettable. And the thing is, what also annoys me is also hearing about movies is I love physical media because digital looks worse than DVD. It's a huge difference. Even if it says 4K, it's still a huge difference because 4K on what I've been noticing on for digital, it doesn't even look 4K. It's just compared to a DVD. And I keep hearing how certain things could happen in DVD. I mean, it makes sense how things revolve, but it just feels like don't do it when you have digital not looking good, and also the apps that you do your digital with. I just want my movies only, of just my movies and not see a whole bunch of ads and whatever. There's not ads, there's certain things that they want you to buy, and like you got to go to Amazon and you go. I mean, I never bought movies on Amazon, but I'm saying this. I don't want an thing for. I just want it my fit movies only, and then that's it. But I don't know what app that is. Let me know. But I really want to get into the point is I think it's strange. Like I say, because and I was supposed to get in Terminator Dark Fate, like after I got past that Terminator, and say, I've seen weird things where people find ways to be angry at movies. Where this one guys were saying it was so like awful the part where she's spinning around the chain in Terminator Dark Fate. I'm like, what? So I've seen like there's several examples, but I've seen like weird things like that. Or especially they even do things with trailers. They'll like I seen some YouTubers, they'll try to take like a 2-second part and try to say that girl who plays Wonder Woman can't act from Snow White because they'll do one part where she and a pause where she does this, kind of like they did with Snow White, where she like does like stop it when she's blinking. That doesn't mean you can't act. You can do that with any actor. When I said that comment, a lot of people agreed. I hit like on that comment, but I was thinking about, I bet you can't do that with Tom Cruise. I don't know if you can do that with Tom Cruise. I was always thinking about that. But anyways, but the point is, just the things that they come up with to dislike something, but rush to see the dumbest shit. And at the same time, who is seeing these movies and watching them over and over again? Because that's what Beyond Trailer says. These are people that go there again. I there's no way in hell I'll sit through Sinners or any of these movies that made. I know that's not gonna make $1 billion, but I'm just saying that just no. There's out of all the $1 billion movies, I think the only. I mean, I know there's more than this, but like decent one is Avatar that made $1 billion. Avatar 1 and 2. Avatar. I'm going too long, but Avatar. It was scratching at the word okay. Avatar 2 was, and then but if you watch it an hour and take it like a whole day break and then watch the next hour, it actually didn't feel that bad. But that's not what I'm trying to get into. The point is, I'm just like so confused about the main thing is is it people's like, how they get into that bias crap, like they listen to a bunch of single guys on YouTube and then they'll find themselves angry at a movie, but go support the biggest shit I've ever seen and give that Reverend next something at Friday $70 million in the first week, where they're making sequels to it, then you don't want to go to theaters anymore. You got it's the only way to do it. It's impossible is to get rid of social media. This idiots. It's not a opinion or what they're saying. No, well that's just a raise people's opinion. No, these are idiots. These are losers for a reason. There's a reason why, and then 99% of them are single. These are not people to listen to. And that's what But anyways, I gotta go. But yeah, that's what's happening. Is what do I have this year? The only thing is I have Mission Impossible. I mean, other movies are just fine, like Final Destination, Marvel. That's just whatever. I'm open to things. I'm an open-minded person. I go see things. I don't get biased about any movie, unless it's a guy that started talking about N-words and Jews. Because I did not go see that. I also don't like Mark Wahlberg. You know what I'm talking about. And that was crap. That was definitely crap. But anyways, I gotta go. But yeah, yeah. So anyway, all right, peace.